All right, well, welcome to today's webinar. I'm Tom Huntington. I'll be the main moderator for today's topic of how to be smart when selecting a job scheduler or scheduler tool, depending upon what part of the world you're from. We're excited to be with you. We have a great set of guests here from a couple of our different teams at HelpSystems, and we'll let ladies go first. Pat, let's have you explain what you do for the here we go. Thank you. Let's have
Here we
Pat
go.
Cameron go first to share what she does for HelpSystems and get us started on this, how to pick the right scheduler.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I work with our automation RPA tool right now. I've been working with that for about 5 years, called Automate. And I've worked with all of the products that we're going to be talking about today over the years. So hopefully you'll be able to find just the right combination to automate your operations.
Well, thank you, Pat. It's been always fun working with you, and it's been a little while since we've done a webinar together, so great to have you with me. Kevin, let's have you tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure, thanks, Tom, and welcome everybody. So, yeah, my name's Kevin Vliet. I'm the Director of Support Services for Workload Automation here at HelpSystems. So, I do a lot of work with our product Jams, which is a cross-platform solution for automating everything, everything from Windows all the way out to mainframe, VMS, Linux, you name it. Jams is there to help with your automation needs. We've got a couple other products that I work with too, so looking forward to speaking with everyone and sharing a little bit of insight on what our various products do today.
Thank you, Kevin. And then I'm Tom Huntington. I'm our EVP of Technical Solutions at HelpSystems. I've been working with Help for a little over 30 years. My first job at HelpSystems was to bring our starting product called Robot Schedule from what was then the System 38 platform over to the AS400 platform. And the rest is history. The world has evolved, and we'll share that story today. Very excited to be with you. And let's move on to our next thing. We'll share a little bit about our history of HelpSystems. We're going to give you some considerations for picking the right scheduler. We'll talk about cross-platform enterprise scheduling, IBM Icentric enterprise scheduling, Unix, Linux-based scheduling today, robotic process automation, and how to get started. And we're going to do this all in about 30, 35 minutes. So got a lot to cover. And feel free to put questions in as we go through today's session. Also, we'll have some polling questions so that we hope you can take some time and answer those polling questions. Now, I'm not going to go through everything on this slide, but I think you'll get the point by looking at the timeline here. We have nearly 40 years of delivering scheduling to the enterprises around the world. HelpSystems started with Robot, which is our scheduling product that's centered around today's world of IBM I. That product in itself evolved as the world of IT evolved, and it wasn't just AS400, it was IBM I with Windows, Unix, and Linux alongside of it. We had to offer up enterprise scheduling from that perspective. Then along the way, we did some acquisitions. We first acquired the network automation team and the Automate product, and that gets us into robotic process automation. And then this last year, we acquired MVP and their team and the Jams product. And if you think about that along the way, how many staff members at HelpSystems either support, develop, sell, market, some form of scheduling tool. So we've been talking this talk for quite a while, and we have a lot of credibility in the marketplace just in alone with just all the customers that use our technology. So very excited to be able to share this story with you today as it's evolved. And over to you, Pat.
As you can see from this snapshot of some of our customers, HelpSystems isn't dedicated to just one industry or just one customer. But because of our years of experience in supporting our customers, our support analysts can understand your industry and your needs. This is an impressive list of logos, and yet it's just a small cross-section of our worldwide list of customers. So when we talk about workload automation and job scheduling, like Tom said, HelpSystems has been providing job scheduling software for operations teams for over 3 decades. Think about that. Think of another software company that's been doing their core competency for 3 decades. Our software scales as your enterprise grows. It eliminates downtime because it eliminates errors while making your entire IT department more productive. Our solutions support all of the major operating systems of the day.
Excellent. Go ahead, Pat.
I was just going to say, we got a polling question.
Absolutely, we have a polling question. Let's pull up our polling question, and we want to find out why you're here today and what you're looking for. So our first question is, what brings you here today from an automation standpoint and being able to look at automations? We have several choices here. And from HelpSystems, we always like to see what HelpSystems has to offer is one option. We hope to consolidate our scheduling for multiple tools. So maybe you're somebody who has, maybe some built-in scheduling like in Cron or Windows Task Scheduler, some of those tools. Our current scheduling vendor is not meeting our needs. Certainly the world evolves, your technology evolves, and now you need to reach from IBM I to Unix, or from Unix, Linux, and Windows, or you have servers in the cloud. Another thing we see that's really driving things is regulations have driven us towards a more DevOps type environment. So standards, regulations are changing around the world that drive us. And then the last one being robotic process automation. We've heard a lot about that over the last few years, and maybe taking automation scheduling out into the user community more. We've seen onboarding projects with HR. We've seen many different projects that are more in tune to what's happening and out in the business and trying to make that staff more productive. So I want to thank you for taking this first polling question, and let me close this poll and share the results. Looks like about 60% of you just like to hear what HelpSystems has to talk about. Great to have you with it. And then we have a pretty good split between we hope to consolidate our schedulers, our current scheduling vendor is not meeting our needs, and then we're very interested in robotic process automation. Well, thank you for answering that question. Let's move on into the presentation some more and talk about what are the options today from HelpSystems. So when you think about our scheduling options today, we have a very good set of tools that can help you depending upon what your business needs are or platform needs are. We start with JAMS, which is cross-platform scheduling, workload automation, enterprise scheduling, running from the cross-platform perspective. And then of course we have the product that started HelpSystems, Robot Schedule, and it can provide an IBM Icentric solution. We have many customers that their core business application runs on IBM I. Then if we move down to the left, we have RPA, the Automate product, which provides robotic process automation, really maybe coming more from the end user and the recognition that we have a lot of people doing the same thing, maybe in a call center or an HR, and we need to automate those processes. And then we move into the Linux-centric customer. There's customers who are centered around Linux and they're looking for a solution that runs from Linux and handles Linux servers, but also can reach out to enterprise. We have Automate Schedule, which can be loaded on Linux and run from that perspective. Okay, all right, so we've asked our polling question a little early today, so let's, sorry about that, guys. I'm a little off my game a little bit, so I apologize. Considerations for picking the right schedule. Let's move into these questions here. So when you start looking at picking the right scheduler, you have to step back and look at your organization, think about what are my strategic platforms? Do I need to consider the cloud? Where will the processes run on each of the partitions or VMs across my landscape of IT? Are you considering RPA projects? I hear more and more customers where they're considering an RPA project, but the business group isn't talking to the IT group and realizing that they have tools or other products that can be linked into that. Where do you run the bulk of your tasks? I always ask people, think about that. If your core application runs on IBM I, then you might want an IBM Icentric scheduler. But if your core application runs from Unix, Linux, and Windows, then of course that's the direction you want to go. So the central server does matter quite a bit. Also considerations for database. Each of these different scheduling tools have hooks into different databases and are more familiar with that. And so we have options there, whether it's Oracle-based, Microsoft SQL Server-based, or IBM I DB2. Well, the scheduling system meets your regulation requirements. That's something that drives picking the right scheduler too. Depending upon the industry, you might have Sarbanes-Oxley, PCI, GDPR that you have to be worried about, and those things are important too. And then, of course, who's leading this project? Is it IT or is it business direction? And that too can drive where we run things from. So all things to consider. And then you have to think about questions for your own IT team. I'm surprised the number of people who look to do automation, but yet they don't ask, is the operations team have a run book? you'll be surprised kind of that cheat sheet of doing things that are still going on in a lot of IT organizations. Take a look at that and what can we automate? And we were talking earlier, to me, automation is always more of a mindset. Are groups outside the IT business looking for things to do? Are they looking to automate those manual processes? We have to reach out to the business and outside of the normal IT thought process and go out and ask them what needs to be done. Are we connecting the automation and development teams? Another problem I see is you invest in these great enterprise workload automation tools, but then you don't involve development and share with them how this tool can make their life easier. And so operations, automation, DevOps has to come together. Which applications do we need to integrate? Of course, that's another driving factor. You might have SAP, you might have Enterprise One, Oracle eBiz. Those are all things that need to be considered and whether or not the product can tie into those products. Is the automation for cloud, hybrid, purely on-premise? Making that workload be able to run in the cloud or on-premise is also important. Also conversion from other scheduling tools and the ability to do that. The number of processes you want to run per day. I can't even think of today with JAMS, Automate, and Robot, the millions and millions of jobs that we run each and every day around the world for all kinds of industries. Very important to think about. And then what platform, we talked about that earlier. And then if you're looking for different solutions, what are they? And what are your requirements? I can give you a list of what I think you should have in a enterprise scheduler or a robotic process automation tool, but what are your requirements and what are you looking for? All right, let's take it over to you, Kevin, to talk about cross-platform enterprise scheduling.
All right, great, thanks. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about, guys, is JAMS. So for those of you who have never heard of JAMS before, JAMS is an orchestration hub for all types of jobs that run on various platforms and applications within an enterprise's environment. So whether you're dealing with Windows tasks, SSIS packages and SQL, SAP data load processes, or bash scripts on a Linux server, JAMS is able to map the properties of each of those nuanced job types into a unified job definition within a central application, JAMS. So enterprises that use JAMS don't need to learn the idiosyncrasies of the way jobs are managed on different platforms and applications. Instead, they can focus on their business, which is what's really important. For example, when this Informatica job completes successfully, notify these email addresses, archive the data file, and then begin executing the SQL stored procedure. JAMS allows you to tie in all of those disparate systems and allow them to see one another and connect them. Exit codes, log files, and statuses are all handled directly within JAMS. Now, in addition to being a powerful workload automation tool, JAMS also makes it quick and easy to get your existing jobs and processes into it. As for the basics, JAMS has native conversion utilities built into the client for Windows Task Scheduler, SQL Server Agent, and Cron. Now, beyond that, the JAMS team here at HelpSystems has extensive knowledge and experience migrating customers' existing WLA infrastructure off competitive solutions, which for anyone who's done that before knows that it oftentimes is a Herculean task. But the JAMS team here has the knowledge and experience of getting the customer's existing infrastructure off of those competitive brands into JAMS, which makes that transition as smooth and effortless as possible. Now, JAMS is comprised of two core components, the scheduler and the agents. Now, the JAMS scheduler is the brains of everything. So this is where the schedule for your jobs are being managed, where dependencies are checked, where we send notifications from, and so on. Now, the agents, on the other hand, are the muscle. So they actually execute and monitor jobs on remote servers, capture log information and statistics, and then report all of that info back to the primary engine in real time. Now you'll notice that the agents, they can be installed on a multitude of operating systems and platforms, regardless of whether they're hosted in the cloud or on-prem. Now, all objects within JAMS are stored in a Microsoft SQL database backend, and JAMS also includes full historical reporting, graphical dashboards, and an audit trail to track not only who does what, but when they do it inside of JAMS. Now, you can also be notified of the progress and status of your jobs through all types of different notification methods that we have. So this includes anything from basic email alerting to more advanced modes through two-way SMS texting and voice calls, as well as notifications into various systems, various system and event logs. Now JAM supports a variety of processes and application integrations. So these types of jobs allow you to automate anything from basic file transfers, any type of scripted processes or executables, to any of those various application integrations across cloud providers like AWS and Azure, or even ERP solutions like Banner, SAP, Oracle EBS, and more. Now, regardless of the type of job or process out there, there's bound to be a way to run, monitor, and manage it entirely from within JAMS. So why JAMS? If you want a robust Windows-based scheduler that can connect and automate jobs on virtually any platform in your environment, if you need to tie in your ERP processes with processes outside of that ERP, if your scheduling requirements are complex and now exceed the current capabilities of native tools like Task Scheduler, Windows Task Scheduler, SQL Server Agent, SAP Scheduler, and so on, or if you need tight integration with Active Directory for security and audit purposes and robust reporting on all of your jobs that run, then JAMS is the product for you.
Thank you, Kevin. Great job on that. I'm going to talk about the IBM Icentric scheduling and Robot Schedule. Robot Schedule can run alone by itself on IBM I. It can be integrated with a tool like JAMS or Automate Schedule, or for that matter, the RPA solutions too. But again, the important point here is this runs natively on I. Our rules are stored on the IBM I DB2 database, and then we use agent technologies on Windows, Unix, and Linux to reach out and automate those processes. We can even do Microsoft SQL Server SSIS packages. And then we do have some special integrations between SAP that does run on IBM I and JD Edwards Enterprise One Oracle based solutions. So we have those capabilities centered around I. Again, we have the same kind of concerns, auditing and tracking of jobs for your regulations. We do that. We have flow charting in here for helping you to make business decisions along with mobile access, which can be, of course, on a browser, or we have a graphical interface. And of course, we still do green screen interfaces too. So management reporting is important, workflow is important. SLAs don't go away just because you run your business on IBM I, so we need to be able to monitor that for you. And of course, we have built-in documentation around the product too. So Robot Schedule has the advanced scheduling flexibility that you need to meet your end of month, end of day processes with things like fiscal calendars, dynamic parameters, and just a lot of robust, flexible dependencies based on file watching, jobs that finish on IBM I, jobs that finish over a Windows or Linux server. It's just really more about your imagination and what you want to automate. We can do it with Robot Schedule too. And of course, from the enterprise, I've talked a little bit about that. We are IBM Icentric. So if your organization's going away from IBM I, or you don't want to run your schedule from there, then of course JAMS is probably a better solution for you. So we can work the IBM I automation with this solution, monitoring services and processes and daemons, doing the file watching, and then of course provide the scalability and reliability as the solution is running on IBM I and helping you out that way. So again, the kind of why behind Robot Schedule Enterprise and Robot Schedule is if most of your workload and most of your core business runs on IBM I, this allows you to control that core business from I without stepping out of the platform too much, other than using agents on Windows, Unix, and Linux. And so the cornerstone business might want to do that. So if you do have some processes that have cross-platform dependencies, no problem. We've been doing that now for well over 2 decades, helping customers out from Robot with non-IBM I scheduling processes, things like file transfers, etc. And of course, if you own Robot Schedule already and you're wondering, can it help you out on Windows, Unix, and Linux? We can. All we have to do is add in another library to your system that is all done through Java, called the Robot Schedule Enterprise library. And next thing you know, you have a centralized tool for scheduling and automating even non-IBM I processes. Well, over to you, Pat, to talk about Unix, Linux-based scheduling.
All right, perfect. So let's talk about Automate Schedule. So Automate Schedule is a complete workload automation solution that can be hosted on Linux systems. That's kind of what sets it apart from the other schedulers we're talking about today. We do talk about Automate Schedule as being kind of the 5th generation of robot. So those of you that are familiar with robot, you will be very familiar with the way that you schedule in Automate Schedule. The logic is the same. The interface is different, but all of the functionality in robot is there. So it combines scheduling, monitoring, notification, audit reporting, all those things that we've talked about, and it's very affordable. So some of the areas that set Automate Schedule apart from some of our competitors are it's easy to use. The browser UI is very intuitive. Sometimes the command line can be kind of intimidating if you need to use that for scheduling jobs like cron jobs. You don't need to be a programmer with Automate Schedule. This allows you to move your job scheduling functions from your system administrators to a production control area or operations. I think what our customers, the best functionality they get from Automate Schedule is that central console. You can monitor your entire network from one display. All the servers communicate with each other. The schedule can be viewed from one display. History across all your servers is viewed from one display, as well as the status of your servers. And then we do auditing, as our other products do, for all of the jobs that are running on all of your servers. Event-driven scheduling is a big piece of Automate as well, that you can initiate events, those file events and other jobs from that single interface. So a little bit about the architecture, kind of like JAMS, we have a central server where the schedule is stored. We use a Postgres database as our backend, and this can be installed on Linux, AIX, or Windows, our central server. So it's kind of that hub and spoke type of an architecture. And then we install an agent on any of the servers or VMs where you need to execute jobs. This makes it very easy to set up those dependent jobs and other events that will trigger a workflow to start processing. That central server knows the status of everything that's executing across all of those agents. So if you don't want to schedule all of your distributed system jobs from your IBM I, then Automate Schedule is a nice option for that. There's also an interface between Robot and Automate Schedule that allows you to easily set up dependencies. We do have a number of customers that run them side by side. You might have a different group in your enterprise that manages your distributed systems, and then another group that manages your IBM I. So we absolutely have customers that use both, and we can interface between the two. So yes, why Automate Schedule? So if you are a Linux-centric shop and you want to run your scheduling engine on Linux, Automate Schedule is a good solution for you. If you don't have an IBM I and you need a centralized, robust scheduler is another reason for Automate Schedule. And like I just said too, sometimes your distributed systems are managed separately from your IBM I schedules. Then Automate Schedule is a nice fit because of that nice interface between the two schedulers. And then if you want a scheduler that's optimized for distributed systems, you might have a lighter workload on your IBM I. And some companies are transitioning away from the IBM I, unfortunately. So if you don't want to invest more in your IBM I scheduler, you can move away from the IBM I and use Automate Schedule as your centralized scheduling tool.
Awesome, thank you, Pat. Well, you also might be thinking, we talked a little bit about combining solutions, and certainly we can. And what you can think of as HelpSystems is a credible single source of scheduling, our core competency. Come to us, we'll help you point you to the right technology. But of course, JAMS and Automate can be work together to help automate some of those maybe Windows things that are more interactive in nature and provide a centralized workload automation tool that can deliver the automation at the desktop or the end user type process. And of course, Robot Schedule and Automate can be integrated too through the IBM Icentric Windows automation piece. We can certainly launch Automate tasks from there. And then we can even go further, depending upon the politics of the organization, who wants to run, maybe you want to keep things independent, you're from a very large organization, you can have JAMS, Automate Schedule, and Robot Schedule all in those organizations. And the good news is HelpSystems can help you out, and we can deliver that expertise for each of those different platforms because our team here at HelpSystems, our support teams are very well versed in the various operating systems that you might need in order to deliver that, but yet keep the dependencies that you need across those platforms so you don't struggle with timer jobs and not knowing what each other's group is doing. So let's not forget about robotic process automation, right, Pat?
Yep, just a little bit about RPA, or robotic process automation, the latest buzzword that's out there. And it can mean a lot of different things to different people. Automate, which is our tool that's used for RPA. And Tom mentioned earlier that sometimes you want to push automation out to the business parts of your business, to accounting, to business analysts, to your billing department, etc. And with this RPA tool, in addition to being able to automate, IT tasks, we can automate a lot of business tasks as well. And our Automate tool integrates very nicely with all of our batch schedulers to include those interactive tasks, pointing and clicking, logging into a website, those types of, sometimes people talk about that front of glass type of automation. We can integrate that with your batch processes. So lots of names, as you can see. Virtual assistants is one of the ones that we hear a lot from our customers, and it focuses on helping your staff get their work done and not replacing them, certainly. It helps them to get their work done a lot more efficiently and automate those kind of day-to-day mundane tasks. So here are some examples of the types of tasks that Automate can do. And I think the one that comes to mind is up in that right-hand corner, the GUI automation. That's a big one. Web browser, any application that's got a browser interface and you need to maybe log into it and enter data, Automate can do that. If you've got a client on a desktop that you need to point and click, and there's no API that you can get to get the data from that application, that is a great place for Automate itself. The biggest benefit, I think, to Automate is its ability to integrate data from multiple applications. Wherever your data source is, Automate can get to it, whether it's through an API, whether it's through a browser or a client, or a SQL database. Automate can get there directly, get the data, process it, and send it to the new target. So it really is a great integrator. So think about all the applications that you have, and instead of building custom interfaces for those multiple applications, you can just use Automate to create those integrations. Using the Automate actions, which is all drag and drop, you can build your own integration into any application, and you can use HTTP or web services or PowerShell, or if that application that you're trying to automate does not provide some type of an API, you can always automate it with the GUI automation in Automate. So lots of different options. It kind of gets your head spinning when you think about it.
That's for sure. Well, let's ask our last polling question here and open that up for you to see what how we can help you out. And we have several options here. I'd like information about JAM's cross-platform. I'd like information about Robot, the IBM Icentric scheduling solution. I'd like information about Automate Schedule because I'm Linux or Unix oriented. I'd like information about Automate, or one of the things that we do with a lot of our customers today is simply technology updates. And that's where we walk you through what's new at HelpSystems. We listen to what's on your roadmap. And it's amazing the number of calls that I do per year like this, and how much the other professionals love hearing what's new and keeping up with one of their key vendors. So if anything, give us a call any point in time on any kind of scheduling needs that you might have or automation needs. We can help you out. Or maybe you just want to talk to somebody like Kevin or Pat, who, or myself, who have helped customers over the years in many different industries automate their processing. We would love to help you out. All right. It looks like the polling question, I'm going to re-ask that because it did not come up. Let's try to do that. For some reason, it would not open up, guys.
Stinker.
Yeah, I don't know. It went right to the hide. Let me hide it. And let me just see if I can do it again. Try that one. Nope. Well, I apologize, but I guess we're not going to be able to open up that poll. We will follow up with you anyways. How's that? If you joined the webinar today. So Thank you for at least trying to listen to me on that one. All right, let's move along and talk about how to get started. So a lot of different ways to get started with enterprise scheduling, workload automation, robotic process automation. And one of the ways is the webinar you watched today. We have many other webinars that go into greater detail about each of these products. And that will help you out with the getting started. And then also trials of our software are always available, one-on-one demos with professionals like Pat and Kevin and myself. And then of course, if you want, you can go right into training and installation. All of our software has a trial period where you can load it on your servers, put some real work in it, and see why, or kind of wonder why you've been waiting that long, right? So why wait? Let's buy today. Let's get a quote. That's another option for you. We'll get you started right away and on your way to having a successful automation project with any of these tools. So in summary, you can see HelpSystems has a lot of core competency when it comes to scheduling, whether it's from Windows, Unix, Linux, or IBM I, or even a mix of the mainframe in there, the Z systems, we can help you out. We can meet your technology needs, so depending upon what your strategy is, technology, whether it's in cloud, on-premise, or in a different operating system, we can help you out. Our solutions offer out great services and support. Because of our knowledge, our core competency in developing these products, we have a lot of great professionals who are here to help you out in handling your end of day, end of month, end of week, day-to-day scheduling needs. Our solutions do work on premise or in the cloud, so no worry there. Often I talk to a lot of cloud providers and MSPs. You still got to run your business, and you're still responsible for automation of your workload, even if it's in the cloud. Our team will help you decide which solutions is best. Again, having a 1 hour engagement or a half an hour engagement with one of our professionals, we can help you decide what's better for you. Is it JAMS, or is it robot, or is it automate schedule, or maybe it's just a robotic process automation project that you want to start with. In any case, these solutions can stand alone or be coupled together to deliver the right solution for your organization. So we want to thank you for joining us today. We did have a few questions come in today, and let's see, we did talk about some of the different trade shows we were at earlier, but Kevin, any shows, somebody's wondering if you're going to be out at some shows here that they might be able to talk to your staff and meet some of the staff. What do you have coming up?
Sure, absolutely. We've got a few shows coming up in the next few months before the end of the year. We're going to be out in Seattle, Washington for the SQL Pass show. I think that's the beginning of November, so we're looking forward to that, meeting some new faces and being able to catch up with some old faces. And then we're also going to be at a couple Elucian banner conferences along the East Coast over the next few months. So for those in the financial education sector, looking forward to getting out there and hopefully meeting you. So if you're planning on visiting any of those shows, make sure to stop by and tell us what you guys are all about.
Excellent, thank you, Kevin. Customer asking a question about SAP integration and whether or not we truly integrate with it. And I don't know, Pat or Kevin, if you want to cover that one and how our integration works there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think I know JAMS and Automate Schedule both have some pretty robust SAP integrations. So, whether you're a Windows-based shop or Linux and Unix-based shop, either of those solutions would definitely work, and we've got plenty of options there for automating those various processes inside of SAP.
Yeah, and I think from a financial commercial standpoint, from what I understand, we offer up a very competitively priced solution for automating that solution too, which can be very expensive if you go with some of the other, I'll say recommended scheduling solutions. But
Sure.
quite honestly, commercially, we can provide a very robust, or I should say, inexpensive solution, but yet have a very robust ability to automate the BAPI processes and stuff in SAP. Well, I noticed we're kind of at the bottom of the hour. Pat, anything else you'd like to add in, or are we good to wrap this one up?
I think we're good. It's a wrap. Thanks for joining us today, everyone.
Thanks,
everybody.
Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on our next HelpSystems webinar.